So veterans compensation and pension benefits, as well as their readjustment benefits, could be delayed if Congress doesn't provide additional funding by September 20th, the deadline. So September 20th is the deadline. Collins joined Senate Appropriations Chair Patty Murray, Senators Brown, Boozman, Collins, Tester, Sinema, Moran, earlier in introducing this bill. The bill calls for upward of $2.8 billion in additional funding for the VA, appropriating about $2.3 billion for the Veterans Benefits Administration for compensation and pensions, as well as roughly $597 million for readjustment benefits. The bill also calls for the Government Accountability Office to review the circumstances surrounding and the causes of the shortfall and possible remedies the department may take in the future to improve annual budget submissions and prevent shortfalls, among other measures. That concludes it. And I'm going to tell you, and then I'll pass it over. It drives me nuts to see a department at this level, right? I worked at county level department and I ran that. This is like having the board of supervisors come in and have to manage your department for you and assign other people to figure out what's going on with your department because you can't figure it out yourself, and then give you recommendations on how to function your office. It blows my mind that that's what we have at the federal department level. It absolutely blows my mind. Chris, let's hear what you got.
Dude, I lost you as soon as you said John Boozman, like Republican, Arkansas. Coolest name ever. I'm going to go get me a jersey with Boozman on it. But look, honestly, I kid a little bit, but everything that we're all saying here is very true. And you wouldn't have a very long career as an executive if you continually showed up this way. And, maybe there's a lot of stuff we don't know. Maybe there's things behind the scenes that people weren't paying attention to, and they are just using this as a political lever. But, it just seems like where there's smoke, there's fire here. And it's just sad because, again, who ends up getting hurt? The veterans. Randy, final thoughts?
Yeah, Senator Snow, Senator Collins, excuse me, sum this whole thing up here. I'm also incredibly frustrated with the VA because they had to know that they were underfunding these accounts. And I just don't buy the argument that they had no idea that's what was going to happen. That's just not possible. They had to have known. They have enough data analysts. They have enough, folks doing financial projections. There's enough horsepower that they had to know. If they didn't, then they are incompetent. If they did, then they weren't honest. So which one is it? There's not a third path here, guys. This is a cabinet level department. Again, this isn't getting a lot of play out there, but this is a massive screw up. And I just don't. I'm just with Jason. This whole thing is being outsourced to Congress to play forensic doctor to figure out what happened at the VA. And then the answer is, you got McDonough running across the hill, we need more money, throw more money at the problem. This is really concerning, folks. And unanimous consent, my things can get stalled. I don't think everybody's in town. My recollection from my days at DC was everybody gets out of Dodge. It's hot, it's humid, everybody's on vacation, to include Congress getting it in before the school year starts and everybody goes back to work in September. So there's probably not a lot of people around to play forensic doctor for the VA to figure out what the hell's going on. So it leaves them with a binary option: throw $3 billion at this, or a whole bunch of veterans are out, or wait until the last stinking minute, which is going to be the middle of September. So yeah, I get it. Regardless of your political persuasion, people like Senator Collins are pissed, and rightfully so. And there's nothing coming out of the horse's mouth over at VA that is making any sense. Go to their website right now, va.gov, click news, click their press releases. That voice box that should be bringing a sense of calm and reason to this whole situation is awfully stinking quiet. That's what I got, Jason. I'll turn it over to you to close this out.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? The secretary has already stated, I'm done. I am not going to be the secretary moving forward. I'll finish out my time in the Biden administration and then I'm out. Is he getting, did somebody have a conversation with him and say, look, you suck so bad, we're going to let you stay, but you're not going to keep staying regardless of who wins the election? Or did he see the writing on the wall himself? It's hard to say, but the bottom line is that now we have a lame duck as a secretary who already has, a foot and a half out of the VA. He's not thinking about it. Hopefully he is still, right? But there's definitely less on the table, if you will, for him with regard to his legacy, if you want to call it that. So, it's another funny thing too, that he's only the second non-veteran secretary of the VA. So we've had two ever. And, I'd like to just pose a question to you, both of you. Do you think that just maybe the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs should be a honorably discharged active duty veteran? And what are you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Randy, we'll jump to you first, and then we'll hit Chris.
Yeah, if you haven't walked a mile in a man's shoes, it's hard to understand his perspective. You get somebody from outside of our community leading the department that helps our community. It could be problematic. Now, I know there's a lot of really skilled people that can lead organizations that they may not be, super in touch with. I often think back to the late great football coach Mike Leach. He wasn't much of a football player himself, but ended up being a reasonably successful college football player. So there are exceptions to the rules, but I think about how many talented executive level veterans are out there that could plug into this problem set without an ego, without a golden parachute that they're looking for at some corporation as a consultant, and just sit down and get the basics in place. Our budget for next year is reasonably accurate. Our head count for next year is reasonably accurate. They've gone back and forth plus or minus 10,000 people over 2 weeks right now. I mean, I'm honestly, and I keep up with this stuff, I'm starting to lose track. I'm getting whiplash from what's coming out of their mouth. So, start with the basics, get your head count in place, get your budget in place, know your gaps. There's a lot of folks in the veteran community that could do that and do that well. And they've felt the pain. They've been a veteran. They understand. So that's my thought. Chris, over to you. And guys, don't hit me for bringing up Mike Leach. He's
I thought he was a great coach.
He was just somebody I was fond of.
So. Yeah. Hey, look. I mean, if you look at Secretary McDonald's background, he's never led anything. He's been a policymaker. He's been a chief of staff. He's never had to really run a business or make hard calls. And I'm not trying to take away from his commitment to serving this country, but I don't think it has anything to do with being a veteran or not. I mean, obviously you have to have passion for your customers. I lean on you guys because you've lived so much of this. I get blown away all the time about all the nooks and crannies that you guys know about. That's what you need, somebody that has the ability to think like an owner and think like a business executive and make decisions, but also live in the shoes of their customers. And because you could always just be an advocate, but you don't always know what you're advocating for. And so, I'm sure that this person's extremely qualified for lots of things. Just doesn't seem like he's qualified for a cabinet position.
Right. Yeah.
And so I wouldn't, yes, being a veteran would be nice. Being a veteran who has gone through the disability processes and understands the ins and the outs and, but that you don't have to have had that to be a great secretary of the VA, but you need to really have passion and energy and compassion about the situations that are thrust upon you. and know enough and have the right people around you, not just a bunch of other policymakers.
Yeah, I could almost get behind it. I don't know. I'm kind of in the boat of I think that a little service would be good. I think that kind of like the Secretary of the Navy or the Secretary of whatever, typically. I don't know. I think that it would be nice to have somebody who chewed some of the same dirt. Doesn't have to be a combat vet, but just somebody who understands. Maybe they filed a claim for their bad knee when they were 23, and they understood that process, and they remembered the impact on their family, and and then when it finally got awarded, how that really helped them get past something, and how much they relied on the VA, and it's just a different aspect, I guess. I like that the county veteran service officers, they have to be a veteran in order to hold the highest position within the county organization for their veteran service offices. And I don't know. I think that if you had no other option, sure. But I think that should definitely be the preferred. So with that, McDonough's out. Everybody knows he's going to make it to the end of this presidential administration's term, and then he's out. So we'll see who we get next. Hopefully, whoever it is, I'll tell you what, man, I would not want that job now, to try to get in there and try to fix all this stuff. Oh my God, what a nightmare. So it's whoever takes it, I hope they got a lot of free time, because they're going to be using it to figure out problems. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you so much. Hit the thumbs up for us. Subscribe if you haven't. Share with a friend, and we'll see you next time.